go ahead and see if we can get a few more people on the call before we begin the presentation. Good afternoon to you, Paul. It's very nice to speak to you again. And good day to all of our participants. We'd like to invite you to take a look at your toolbar to see if you can see the chat box, and you can use your chat box to chat into any question that you may have or any feedback that you have regarding the call today. Also, you can chat with amongst one another, and also you can chat to the entire group. So I just wanted to show you that box right there. We'll be using that throughout the session to be able to send your feedback to Professor Jeana Wirtenberg. And so I welcome you to Sustainability Management Association's Transforming Leadership. This is our sustainability webinar series. And Dr. Wirtenberg, thank you so much for hosting today's presentation. And so
my pleasure.
Thank you. And so I'm going to put all of our callers on mute just for a moment as we get started. And those of you who are logged in through the URLs, you can see our presenter who has her video screen sharing as well.
Hey, Angela, this is Amanda. Can I say a quick word?
Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. My name's Amanda Fairley. I am actually the president of the SMA, and I wanted to thank Jeana for being willing to participate here and share with us some of your knowledge. We certainly all appreciate it, and I hope everyone attending finds it beneficial and can learn from the opportunity here to network with each other and learn from each other. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you very much for joining the call. Everybody, welcome Amanda Fairley. She was just elected as our president of the Sustainability Management Association, and she has served as vice president from the very beginning of this project to kick off a new association for professionals that truly believe in sustainability management, that we can make a very positive difference in the organizations that we work in, the employees that we interact with, and all of our external stakeholders. And just to give you a little bit of an update about SMA, we're a membership organization for professionals that truly believe in transforming leadership. And we have a very keen purpose is to really spread the knowledge and skills and abilities of people that manage for sustainability in any type of organization or industry. The Sustainability Management Association offers 3 services. Membership is open to anyone who believes in making a positive difference and managing organizations for people, planet, and profit, which is the topic of today's session. And also, we're the accrediting body for the certification that's offered in 2 tiers. One is called the Certified Professional, and that is for professionals that have 2 years of working experience in sustainability management. And the other is the Certified Associate for people who are learning about sustainability. Those of you who are certified, you do need your 15 hours of continuing education credits, so please keep documentation that you're attending today's webinar. And if you would like a certificate for future sessions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll go ahead and send you out a certificate. So 2 tiers of accreditation. Basically, our certified professionals are those that are already working in sustainability, whether you're an HR professional or a supply chain professional or fleet manager or facilities manager. Basically, we would just need to look at your present and past experience and be able to verify that to go ahead and certify you at the higher tier. And then for people that are learning, we have a designation called the Certified Association for students from our undergrad all the way up to doctoral students and professionals who are learning about sustainability and would like to implement that within their own organizations. When we talk about knowledge, skills, and abilities, it's really about how do you manage your organization, what is the language and frameworks used in sustainability, how do you measure and track what it is that you're trying to achieve, and setting realistic goals that are attainable and goals that are going to impact people, planet, and profit, and really policies that can help develop the culture of your organization by having very clear standards for employees to learn, and then affecting your external partners such as your supply chain or utilizing third-party certifications in order to achieve your sustainability objectives. And finally, how do you report and be able to communicate those outcomes to your stakeholders as well? So if you'd like to look at getting certified, please visit our webpage, sustainabilityma.org. You can, of course, contact me directly, and I'd be happy to give you some more information. And take a look at the tiers and the study materials available, and be able to let us know if you're interested in studying for the certification. Many people helped to design the content of this certification, about 60 professionals, to put together this particular study guide, and we do have some of our authors on the call today. The people who put together the study guides are truly, I call them pioneers and innovators, that are a collaborative effort between business, government, utilities, and NGOs that got together and decided that there are many frameworks that can be used within any type of organization or industry, and that they are clearly shared amongst those. And so developing the profession of sustainability management is a key imperative for leading this within our organizations. Some of our board members are on the call, and you had briefly met Amanda Fairley, our president. Michelle Vicentin, our treasurer, is also on the call, and I believe George Barber is on the call. Thank you so much for joining us and also for serving on this board of directors, and it's a very important aspect in being able to help the Sustainability Management Association reach our membership and help our membership to continue to really be transformative. And so we do believe in transforming leadership, in being able to manage for healthy societies, a healthy natural environment, and a healthy economy to really look towards tomorrow. So please pass the word. Please follow us on social media. And also, if you'd like to gain more information about membership and how we can support your mission to achieve sustainability strategies, please do contact us. So thank you very much for that introduction, and I'd like to introduce you now to Dr. Jeana Wirtenberg, and she's actually someone that we've known for a very long time who's truly engaged in sustainability and is the leading author of a book. And if I may just show you, on our website you'll be able to find a link to her book as an author, and she'll be going over some of that content today. And so building a culture for sustainability is our topic for the day, and we welcome you and thank you so much for speaking today, Dr. Wirtenberg. And I may need to unmute you, so just give me one moment. Dr. Wirtenberg, can you hear me now?
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Okay, wonderful. Well, yeah, I had a wonderful visit to Chico State a few years ago and keynoted at one of your conferences, and I loved meeting all of you, and I think the work you're doing is extraordinary, so congratulations, and I'm happy to be a part of this today to talk about my book, Building a Culture for Sustainability, People, Planet, and Profits in a New Green Economy. And I'm forwarding the slides, and let's see how I do that. It's not advancing.
15.
If you give me 1 second, I'm looking. I might have lost you. Let's see.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not seeing your screens now. Is everyone on the call? Do you see the...
It says people can see a paused version of your screen. Click to stop screen sharing. No one can see your screen. Now I put it back on. People can see your screen. Can people see my screen?
I can.
You see enough for all forever?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I try
great.
to advance them just to make sure everything's working well for you.
It's not advancing.
Let me go ahead and reset it. Everyone, thank you very much for your patience. Dr. Wirtenberg, I am changing the controls back to you.
Okay. It says now you are the new presenter, and I think it's working. Okay. So this was the book, and now I'm moving on. Everybody can see enough for all forever? Yes? So the inspiration for my book was really this inspiring statement by the African delegation to the Earth Summit Rio, and it is called Enough for All Forever. where you see people, planet, and profits all in our beautiful green earth. And the context for my book is literally thinking about how we can create and envision a sustainable world in 2050. The three key concepts that I focus on throughout the book are systems thinking, socioeconomic justice, and intergenerational responsibility. Enough for all forever. Some of the trends that I looked at that are throughout the entire book in almost every chapter, looking at what are the mega trends, where are we likely to be in 2050, and these are some of the mega trends that I start the book off with in terms of the rapid growth of the middle class, the resource crunch around the world in terms of resources running out, and the persistent inequality that we're seeing, the demographic changes, people moving into urban settings throughout the world, and I do take a global view. Health issues around the world and the hyperconnectivity of people around the world. This came from Richard Wells' work that was published in GreenBiz. So I believe that the next big step in sustainability is culture. And I believe it's the missing link. So the entire book is focused on what does it mean to have a sustainable culture? What does that look like? How do we get there? What are some examples? And I have hundreds of examples throughout the book. And the purpose of the book is to provide a practical, hands-on, on-the-ground guide to building a culture for sustainability for firms of all types, all sizes, and at all stages, from those that are just starting their journey to those who are trying to accelerate where they are and deepen their positive impact. And I try to take a positive, strength-based view on people, while reducing or even reversing and regenerating the positive environmental impact and simultaneously enhancing the financial bottom line in the short, medium, and I do take a long-term view. So people, planet, and profits. I worked with and embedded myself in 9 companies shown here for over 2 years. Many of these companies I've been working with for as long as 10 years, so I knew them quite well. And I'm going to talk about probably 6. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but I'm going to give you some examples. Each of these companies is an entire chapter in the book, 30, 40 pages with great detail around what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, what their challenges are, what their lessons learned are, what their tools are. But today I'm just going to go through a few highlights from about 6 of the chapters in the short amount of time that we have. So how I went about doing this is that there was a 2-year Institute for Sustainable Enterprise Corporate Partner Roundtable. I'm one of the founders, and I run the Institute for Sustainable Enterprise at Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey. And we had a corporate partner roundtable on employee engagement, which came to focus on building a culture for sustainability. And I had the heads of sustainability in many, many companies. So out of those companies, I selected the 9 that are in the book and did 70-plus interviews in 2012, 2013. I had a lot of access to internal documents, many proprietary documents, as well as looking at the external secondary research. So all of that took about a year of interviewing, another year of writing, and here we go. So the good news is that culture is fungible. A lot of people think you can't change culture, but you can change culture. I am absolutely clear you can change culture with intention and with planning. And business leaders and managers are the critical ones to shift the balance to sustainable mindsets, sustainable behaviors. And where do they start? They start with themselves. They start with their own beliefs, their own mindsets, their own behaviors, walking the talk and leading by example. So more good news is that companies don't really need to resort to top-down command and control of the last century. They don't need to coerce people. They don't even need to give peer pressure, because what I found through much research and a previous survey is that people already care deeply about these issues. They care about these issues more than they think their companies do, and think they have to leave their caring at the door when they come into work every day. So what companies need to do is to offer an enabling environment, encouragement, and reinforcement for people to unleash what people already want to contribute and what already resides within them. So now I'm going to go through a few examples fairly quickly of different companies so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. The first one I'm going to talk about is Alcatel-Lucent, which I actually have an inside view of because I worked at AT&T while Lucent, which was then Network Systems, was all a part of the same company. I was there for many years. And so I had an experience of it and then caught up with what's going on now. As you walk into the Alcatel-Lucent Bell Labs building, you see this beautiful bust of Alexander Graham Bell, who's truly an iconic business leader and inventor. And what you see here is his great quote, which is on the bust of his head. And it's really perfect. And it speaks to me today. You need to leave the beaten track occasionally and drive into the woods. You need to look into nature to find something you've never seen before. So what they're doing in Alcatel-Lucent and in Bell Labs is creating inventions for breakthroughs in sustainability. What does this have to do with culture? It has everything to do with culture. As we look at Green Touch, for example, what they're looking to do is create a collaborative cross-industry network, which includes everyone that's working in IT and telecommunications to literally, I'm sorry, to literally optimize energy and create a 1,000-fold increase in energy efficiency, 1,000-fold. So breakthrough kinds of transformations. And they're doing it through a collaborative network, working across the industry to set new standards. And for them, what does a culture for sustainability look like? And you'll see this as a pattern throughout the different companies. It's a noble vision. It's aspirational. What they say is they're going to connect the entire unconnected world. We're going to make sure the 2 billion people who have no access to communication services for healthcare, for life, for education, for learning, they have that in the next 20 years. So to do that, what they're doing is incorporating sustainability into every job function. It's no longer just a side issue in EH&S or the CSO department. It's in procurement, it's in facilities, it's in product development, it's in network design, it's in marketing, it's in HR, not as much as it needs to be, and it's in finance. And so the employees find the meaning, find the passion and the inspiration in the company's vision, which is to realize the potential of a connected world. I remember having this vision when I was over working at AT&T, and I was over in Asia leading a HR global session for people in Asia, and I said, oh my God, if we could connect everybody in the world, what a difference that could make to make the world work for everyone. So a culture for sustainability there, it's not only that employees get it, but they implement it. It's top down, it's bottom up, and they include sustainability in every routine in their office as well as in their home, and many of the companies looked at in their homes as well. So they create a grand vision, they build it into the business case. It starts at the top, but it's embedded in the organization's entire DNA. And it starts with setting clear priorities, making commitments, even if you don't know how you're going to get there, communicating the good, the bad, the ugly with authenticity, with transparency. And when they do have accomplishments, recognizing them, as well as disclosing the areas for improvement. So one of the best practices they have at Alcatel-Lucent is a social media platform, not surprisingly, since it's a telecommunications company, called Engage, which is all about maximizing communication. And the leader, Christine Diamenti, told me that she had actually received 4,000 suggestions on social media, and she read every single one of them to focus on sustainability. And again, it's about collaborating within the company, across stakeholders, and across industry. And most importantly, tying sustainability to innovation. A lot of people think sustainability is doing less harm. I don't think so. Tying sustainability to innovation is the future, and integrating sustainability into the company's strategy. Now, this company, like all companies, has many, many challenges. They have financial challenges, but these are some of the main challenges that came up that I talk about in the book. stuck in the middle. Middle managers are squeezed. They have way too much on their plate. They're getting one set of priorities from the top and being asked to do so many things, and often sustainability is getting squeezed out because of competing priorities. Second, this company, like many, is faced with short-termism, where they're being pressured by shareholders to focus on the short term, the quarterly results, and that's a continuing challenge for virtually all the companies. Constantly needing to demonstrate the return on investment stemming from sustainability, and last but not least, human resources really needs to step up, and this is my passion. I do a lot of work, and what I teach at BARD is the human resources and sustainability class. So HR really has a large role to play to step up as an advocate and enabler of the kinds of changes. So again, the key is to create a shared focus on solving a global problem. So sustainability should be tied to some aspirational BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. In this case, it's the dilemma of the digital divide. Get started, define what it means to your business, engage in innovation, build the business case, make clear objectives, organize to meet them, communicate authentically, transparently, internally and externally, and keep pushing. So that's all a little more than I'm going to be doing on some of the other companies, because I wanted to give a kind of a high-level overview. And next I'm going to talk for a couple of minutes about BASF, which is a really phenomenal company committed to sustainability. They have organized their entire company around creating chemistry for a sustainable future. They take a holistic view grounded in science, and again they look at megatrends. So all of the chapters in my book kind of start with how the companies look at their megatrends. Here are the megatrends that BASF looks at in terms of, again, the growing population, the aging population, urbanization, we saw that one, energy demand and climate protection, and globalization. So BASF is committed to creating a culture for sustainability that incorporates all of its stakeholders and the communities in which its facilities are located. What's one foundational aspect of their sustainability approach is called Verbund, which is a way of connecting. It's an interconnected system of relationships where the sum of the parts is greater than the separate parts. So it's all about synergy and interconnection. And what they've done is moved from a corporate sustainability expert model to a full integration of sustainability into their entire value chain. And this is the model they use. And what you see at the bottom is a quote from my friend Charlene Wall, who's their sustainability leader, where they have moved to a new model where the sustainability experts sit with the business people to co-create, which is another theme in the book, to co-create jointly and get the business value out of a joint, rather than having it go from Department 1 to Department 2 to R&D to product development to marketing. It's all done collaboratively and co-created. One of the things they did to really step up their whole engagement is through their corporate communications program, and what you see here is a picture of their We Create Chemistry World Tour, where they went around the entire world with in a tent with all their different products, and they had booths, and they gave everybody an iPhone, an iPad to see. That's a car that's very futuristic, but actually exists, and to demonstrate and get their employees as well as their customers and other stakeholders to actually see and touch and feel their different products. They developed a strategy around people to really organize around sustainability and integrate it fully into an HR strategy, one of the only companies that's done that, focused on excellent people, excellent place to work, and excellent leaders. And they built a comprehensive approach to their culture of sustainability, which is still ongoing. Again, like other companies, they're facing many challenges. They're a huge company, over 100,000 employees, many different countries, very global, very diverse, and are struggling with some of those issues. They're struggling with differentiating their company in a very crowded marketplace. STEM came up in a number of companies, including Alcoa and BASF around filling the pipeline. They have a hard time filling some of their technical positions. Another issue that came up in a number of the companies is this notion of getting buy-in for the total cost of ownership and life cycle costing. They're still struggling with that because as you look at the total cost of ownership and life cycle costing, it makes sense to buy certain products, but when people don't understand that, they think it costs more when in fact it actually costs less as you look at the total cost and the cost in use. And again, because it's such a large company with the Verbund concept, spanning boundaries across industries and their value chain is a challenge. But these are their lessons learned. They see culture change as a team sport, by which we mean working, again, across functions, and that's how they do everything. Multidisciplinary, multi-cultures. And again, making it a business issue to build a business case, and that brings along even the most hardcore skeptics. And their systems approach, called Verbund, really supports the embedding of sustainability everywhere. So these are their 8 elements that they use in integrating into the culture in terms of, again, changing the mindsets of their employees as well as suppliers, working very closely with the customers from the outside in, focusing on solutions to intractable problems, very science-oriented, and when I asked them about different things like fracking or whatever, it was always letting the science decide, not taking an opinion before you know what the science says. Making the shift from functional to solutions, that's another major trend, solutions-driven work. And one of the things the BASF does is integrate sustainability into everyone's goals, whether they're on the shop floor or in manufacturing, from the top to the bottom. Everyone has a goal around sustainability. This company, along with many of the other companies, have sustainability champions who are designated and trained to be basically the ambassadors for sustainability and ignite everybody's passion. And that helps to ignite the contagious passion and make it viral. The third company I'm going to talk about is Ingersoll Rand, which is another wonderful company integrating sustainability into the heartbeat of the company. Once again, they focus on solving big problems. Solving big problems is part of who we are and what we've delivered. They address global challenges. These are the global megatrends that Ingersoll Rand started with, and you'll notice a lot of similarity between the other ones that I showed you, but they all express them in a slightly different way. So for Ingersoll Rand, integrating sustainability is all about doing business. It's the only way to do business. And it's about how people approach their work every day. Again, it's about the mindsets and instilling a sustainability mindset, and also helping customers become more sustainable. So we see that as another theme. They take very much of a strengths-based approach, and they see a clear link between sustainability and premier performance. And then they embed that in their brand, in their promise, in their vision, and in their purpose. So sustainability has become a rallying point, and they have a center called CEES, C-E-E-S, which is where the rallying point sort of emanates from. They translate sustainability into customer value, so it's all about the customer. And they try not to be all things to all people, but to set a small number of strategic priorities. Their culture best practice has a lot of different initiatives around the people end, and they all kind of focus on capturing people's hearts and minds. They have something called One Step Forward, which is all about personalizing sustainability to make it real in your home, home to workplace. And they have a tiered certification program for their green teams. They have hundreds of green teams working all over the company, saving mega millions of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as many other innovative products and services. In terms of the customer value, they have created a whole green portfolio using open innovation and something called outcome-driven innovation, which I talk a lot about in the book. And that's ODI, and then they apply ODI to sustainability challenges, and they're created a whole green portfolio out of that, all about innovation. So they're holistically embedding it in their culture, but it's still a challenge. Another challenge we've seen before is producing a solution that customers are willing to pay for, again, because of the total cost of ownership, and having people understand that. They want to create a customer pull versus a technology or vendor push. And the Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, known as CEAS, has to manage through influence without authority, which is another thing that I've seen in a number of other companies, Wyndham as well. Wyndham Worldwide I'll be talking about a little bit. They try to influence their franchises, but they don't really have authority to tell them what to do. So some of the lessons learned from Ingersoll Rand: to engage the heart first. I think that's very powerful. Again, many of the companies are building on a long legacy of sustainability and taking that to the next level. Having a high-performance organization is not different than a sustainable one. They're both the same. It really is about having a successful, high-performing business, and I think sustainability is the only way to lead a business. Aligning sustainability with everything you're doing, and taking a top-down and bottom-up approach. So their conclusion of that chapter is that the company's relentless focus on providing customer value in the context of these societal and global sustainability challenges is really a model for other businesses. That was my conclusion. Okay, so the next company I'm going to just say a couple words about for the next few companies, because in the interest of time, is Sanofi. Sanofi is a large global pharmaceutical, and they have embedded sustainability throughout their entire company. And how they have done that is by putting patient at the center. And then you see planet, people, and ethics around the center of their whole platform and their pillars. And for John Spinato, the vice president, he says the key to culture for sustainability is full participation, to make everyone feel they are part of something greater and bigger. Again, those noble aspirational goals, which I think is the answer to get people excited and involved, to be a part of something that's really going to make a difference, to build the cathedral, not just lay bricks. And I really think we can do that. At Sanofi, they've actually have this passion to help people fueling their work. And how sustainability has evolved is from a strict focus on environmentalism, it has actually evolved to more of a social consciousness and evolved to innovation, to foster this culture of innovation and connect with employees in every function. So they're still on that journey to move sustainability into everybody's mindset and behaviors. Wyndham Worldwide, huge global hospitality company. You can see all their brands here. I'm sure you've known or stayed in some of these. They have from the high end to more of the low end hotels. They also have time sharing, and they have over 32,000 employees. It has been recognized as one of Newsweek's greenest U.S. companies for years. What's very interesting and unique about Wyndham is their structure, which I show here. They have a very structured approach to managing and leading sustainability through their Wyndham Green Sustainability Leadership Council, their strategic partnerships representing all parts of the company. And they work through this to reach all of their guests, all of their investors, all of their employees, all of their business partners. How they build their culture for sustainability is really by focusing on four things. A number of different initiatives I describe in my book around employee empowerment and engagement, such as their recognition program called Caught Green-Handed. They have a whole standard they apply to all of their supply chain and procurement initiatives for sustainability and the products that they use in their hotels around the world. They have quite a few different initiatives in terms of philanthropy and CSR with Arbor Day Foundation, etc. And they're really involved in engaging their customers in this journey and have produced some pretty remarkable results in terms of carbon emission reductions, water consumption, etc. And all those are in my book. So I think this is the last one, Church and Dwight. Many of you may not be familiar with that company, but it's usually known as Arm & Hammer. And the focus of this is on product stewardship for sustainable prosperity. The company started well over 100 years ago, and they used to actually put these little bird cards in every box of that they have of baking soda, which is their original product. The company was created in a kitchen by two brothers-in-law, and over the 100+ years, it's become an evolution, not a revolution, for this company. They, interestingly enough, define sustainability under the umbrella of CSR. So where some companies have CSR at the top, some companies have sustainability at the top. I don't think it really matters. You just have to make it work for your company. So for them, CSR is the master plan. It includes all the social aspects. They put that first, as well as the codes of conduct, their integrity, their ethics. It incorporates environmental and product stewardship and business sustainability. So for Church and Dwight, it's again all about the mindset. It's about learning and respecting from failure. They don't fire people for failure. They actually, there were examples of where somebody introduced something very innovative and was rewarded for that, even though the product may not have worked the first time. And they're very committed to transparency, reporting the bad with the good. This is one of their best practices. They are actually the first company that ever celebrated Earth Day, and they cleaned the Statue of Liberty with their Arm & Hammer baking soda in 1970 when that all started. This was a cute best practice called Pay the Piggy, where people have to put money in a piggy bank if they forget to turn their lights off when they leave, and then that money is used to for charities and having parties for everyone. They have an employee giving fund, which is very local, with a lot of local volunteers, a lot of partnerships with NGOs. Another thing that they do uniquely is they create a very public website which reports all ingredients in every product that they have. So in the last 5 minutes, I'm just going to try to wind up, and then we'll take some questions, because I'd love to hear from you, some questions. So, summing up everything I've talked about and in the book, there are some critical issues and challenges that must be addressed. I've organized these into 3 categories: people, planet, and profits. People-related challenges are related to the continuing need to change mindsets and behavior. It came up in every chapter, and even the best companies are still struggling with that. Another theme was filling the pipeline from STEM disciplines. It's a major issue for science-based companies. Again, overwhelming workloads. People are overwhelmed and have so many competing priorities. The STEM disciplines are science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the final one that I talked about several times during this call and am passionately committed to is HR's role, and that's what I teach at Bard. They really need to step up to the plate. So those are what I see as the 4 major people challenges. The planet challenges, which I mentioned in most of the conversation here, are the consumer perception that green costs more. Sometimes it does cost more, but if you take the total life cycle into account, or the total cost in use, it usually costs less, and we need to find this workable trade-off. Being sustainable versus touting it. A lot of the companies, such as Church and Dwight, said, I don't want to be touting I'm sustainable. I don't even use that word. I just want to be it. And that's what's more important than greenwashing and spending more money on advertising and greenwashing than actually doing it. Another way of thinking about it is tree-hugging, cutting edge, or bleeding edge. The company needs to decide where they want to be on the continuum and move it forward. I like Church and Dwight's way of responding to that as being rallied and actively prepared. So they're ready to meet the market when the market meets them, and they're always a little ahead of the curve. But you can't be so far out ahead of the curve that you can't even make any money to survive. In terms of profits, the biggest challenges are measuring ROI of sustainability initiatives. It's really difficult to do, and my company helps do that, and other companies try. It's quite a challenge for many of the companies. I talked about short-termism is a major issue, and we really need to deal with that on Wall Street, and some great companies are saying, I'm not even going to report quarterly earnings anymore because it doesn't make any sense. And the fact that there are many different measurement systems and methods around the globe, which makes it very time-consuming to do all the reporting. I was just at a commit conference a couple of weeks ago where this issue came up, and it really makes sense to have kind of like you have one college application with just some variations rather than having to fill out 100 different forms. So to net out this piece, I see three big tipping points occurring in sustainability. One is what we call co-creation, where we're talking about co-designing products. Rather than having engineers design sustainability products that maybe nobody would want to buy, to actually increasingly bring customers into the product development process, as well as lots of employees. Co-creating planning from all stakeholders, incorporating community and customers from the outset. Bottom up. We see a lot of top-down support is absolutely necessary, and I would never say that leadership support isn't necessary, but what's going to drive the changes is the employee engagement and the bottom-up, having everybody involved, having goals in everybody's objectives. And the long view, really getting away from this quarterly earnings mentality and thinking about medium and long-term, I'm not even going to say growth, I'm going to say sustainability. So just to wind up with a few more slides, what I think the 8 essential elements of a culture for sustainability are these 8. In terms of sustainable values are essential, really literally having a mindset that sees the organization in the context of the community, the society, and the earth that it resides in. Systems thinking, which is really the essence of the sustainable mindset. Leadership for sustainability, I do a major program around that as well, with leaders to help them really rethink their leaderfulness, leading with purpose and authenticity, not command control. Being visionary, actually envisioning a future we want to create and then figuring out how we're going to get there. Employee engagement, which makes the engagement fun and creative while building the employees' resiliency and agility. We're definitely talking about multidisciplinary, no longer silos, which is how most organizations are today, totally siloed, and embedding it throughout every discipline and every function. I feel diversity, inclusion, and social justice is an absolutely critical, essential component of sustainability, which really emanates from deep caring for all people as well as the planet. And finally, wisdom. We've talked about emotional intelligence, social intelligence, ecological intelligence. It's really all of the above. And to create this, I just came from the Global Flourish Conference, Global Flourish and Prosper Conference at Case Weatherhead, and the entire conference was really focused on some of these, embedding these sustainability-inspired habits and practices, which I think are so important. And we see more of more and more of these being embedded in great companies. A little bit of silence, a little bit of mindfulness and presence, being present, listening generously, as well as self-organizing and emergent kinds of ways of being for organizations, humility, caring, compassion. These, I believe, are the sustainability-inspired kinds of internal, inside-out practices that we must cultivate to truly become sustainable. So to sum up, we have today people in a bucket, planet in a bucket, and profits in a bucket, and we're looking to have people, planet, and profits all in the one earth. And to do that, I believe companies, no matter no matter what your size, need to go through these 4 phases, from discovery, coming up with a comprehensive sort of self-assessment of where you are, looking at a future that you want to create, putting together a pretty strategic plan with some tactical implementation, and then most important, deploying it. Don't wait till it's perfect. Get started and keep going. So thank you, and I have time for some questions, which I'd love to hear. And let's see how I will go to the chat bar and see what comments you've had.
Thank you so much, Jeana. That was so insightful because it's really interesting to see what different companies are doing in such varied industries or diverse industries are handling how to build a culture. And I really thought it was compelling how you were talking about a chemical company such as Basf, who is so engaged in sustainability and challenging their people with a mantra that's so simple as far as simply dare. I really thought that was very clever because it really challenges you as an individual to say, I dare to think of the unknown. I dare to create the products of the future and to really look at innovation and design as one of the key areas that we need to design with the tipping points that you were talking about of co-creation with customers and being able to learn from customers what are some of the solutions that I do not have in my life cycle costing and my life cycle assessment to be able to find products that I can actually be more sustainable with, whether it's within my workplace or whether it's at home. And so I found that to be truly interesting. I love that mantra, simply dare. And I was really interested in about when we're talking about the mindset of sustainability and building that culture around people, planet, and profit to be thinking and making decisions, and how do we look at the long-term view through systems thinking and understanding some of the outcomes that we know we want to achieve and really recognizing the outcomes of our unintended consequences as well. So I would love you to talk more about that if you have time.
Okay, about the unintended consequences?
Yes, and maybe a little bit more about systems thinking and how you see that as one of the key criteria or frameworks to be utilized in managing sustainability.
Absolutely. So systems thinking is really looking at the whole picture, and typically we don't do that from the outside in. So I really think you need to do a fairly thorough view of what are the trends in your organization that might affect it, whether it's the resource constraints emanating from, conflict minerals or climate change or the global challenges of the overpopulation in some areas, or things like what happened with the the tsunami or in Japan and how that affects your supply chain, and really look at all of those different factors and think holistically. So systems thinking is all about thinking holistically and then looking at the implications for your business from the inside out. So it's outside in and it's inside out, and it's at every level. It's at the how that might affect your different functions, how it might affect your employees, your shareholders, your customers, your suppliers, and actually creating probably a map of some sort that looks at the implications on all of those, and then based on that planfully considers your strategy taking those things into account. So you might want to have a backup plan, for example, for your supply chain and your procurement plans, and some kind of plan B for your employees if they have to suddenly move to another location. And so it's looking at what's happened in the past, but also looking forward because things are changing so rapidly and we can't anticipate the implications of climate change and all the other global forces that are happening. So it's really taking a big picture view and drilling down to your specific organization in a strategic way. Okay, I'm going to look at some of these other questions that came in on the chat. what are some easy and cheap methods to make a culture of sustainability stick in an organization? There are many things you can do that really don't cost any money. First of all, you want to embed it in people's goals. Presumably every organization has some kind of goal setting or performance management system and compensation system, and by making sure that it's incorporated into their goal setting, as BASF does, then people will start paying attention to it and have it be personalized for every person. Second, green teams don't have to cost any money either. You can ask for volunteers and have them be very local, so the people can identify things that they are committed to in their own organization and even in their own lives, such as I know Walmart has personal sustainability plans, which could include things like quitting smoking or losing weight or whatever, and then finding ways to support each other. So definitely green teams, definitely goal setting. Another thing would be rewards and recognition. It doesn't have to cost money. Wyndham has, as I mentioned, just a certificate that you can print off your computer. It's called Caught Green-Handed, and anybody can give it to anyone else to start generating it. Another thing you could do is the sustainability champions, like I mentioned. Sanofi has that, Wyndham has that, BASF has that. So these are people who raise their hand that they're interested in supporting sustainability culture, and you help them get a little educated. You can do this ton of information available for no cost, and build it into the learning and development process. The pay the piggy doesn't cost anything either, that example from Church and Dwight that I cited. So the key is to have it be something that works for your organization and be owned and bought into by your employees. So I would say have them develop it, have them come up with some ideas. Also, if you do employee surveys of some sort, you can do them on, if it's a small organization, you can even do it on, SurveyMonkey or something. And ask questions about sustainability, ask for suggestions, have a suggestion box virtually on your intranet or however you connect, and listen to your employees. So I think that it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to create a culture of sustainability, and ultimately there's a lot of savings to be made by through more energy conservation and other kinds of and money to be made through innovation. So I hope that answered that question. Let's see what else. Co-creation is such an interesting concept to engage your customers in design and product or packaging innovation. What types of ways are the companies communicating with their customers? So several of the companies engage their customers in co-designing their processes, including Ingersoll Rand, where they actually did work with the customers to understand what the customers valued in terms of solutions, and then they kind of went back-ended from there to design products that met those needs. One example was that they had a keyboard on a wall and to regulate energy, and the people that were using it said it was getting really dirty and all that kind of stuff, so can you develop a a touch screen? And it came from the customers. They did that, and the product sold. So another example from BASF, which I absolutely loved, was we talk about it in the book, was the Seattle Mariners wanted to have a very green sporting event. And so they went to BASF and asked them to create biodegradable peanut packages. And so BASF donated for the first 10,000 people that walked into their stadium these biodegradable peanut packages, which were so successful that they've now created an entire line of products for all sorts of sports events and other events. And it's taken off in colleges and all over the country, and it came out about as a whole product line. And they did that using the Verbund concept that I mentioned, where people from different functions got together, from marketing, product development, and procurement, et cetera, and they created these biodegradable peanut bags. So it ended up satisfying the customer, satisfying the people that were coming into the stadium, sending a message to 10,000 plus people as they came into the stadium, and built a whole new successful product line. So co-creation is, I think, really key, and it starts at the beginning. I think co-creating planning in terms of at the early planning stages to get all the stakeholders from the customers to the employees to the community into the conversation. Let's see what other questions I have here. I like how patience was a key driver of building a culture to learn about sustainability and take time to understand global trends and product challenges. How can managers effectively allow employees the time to learn about life cycle assessment? I hope that it helps to reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed. Do you think that culture of patience will reduce the squeeze on time? Great question, Angela. I actually think that more and more companies are incorporating mindfulness practices. I had the wonderful opportunity recently to work with Jeremy Hunter, who's kind of a guru in that, at the global forum I attended, and we co-led 2 workshops on mindfulness in the workplace. And it's amazing in only like 90 seconds of just, closing your eyes and breathing and taking the time to actually reflect on what you're doing, how much more productive you can be and purposeful. I think people are just running almost crazed now to try to check boxes and not always doing the most important work. Leadership is, doing the right things, not just doing things right. And I think that patience comes along with some of the mindful and sustainable practices that I mentioned briefly around reflective practices, mindfulness, and going along with gratitude and caring. So I really think those sound like the soft stuff, and a lot of people say, oh, that's just the soft and fuzzy stuff, but it's really the hard stuff, and building that into organizations is really, really important. Oh, love it. Somebody said, Devin said, I'm a member of the newly formed green team at my work. Well, that's wonderful to hear, and I'd be love to hear about that. Question above from Mitch Erickson. Hi, Mitch. Let me see if I can find your question. And here it is. Jeana, sustainability scales from save the planet all the way to I want to keep my job. Can you talk about the tensions, trade-offs, and conflicts at the corporate scale and how a company must look up to the planetary scale and down to the individual employee citizen? Absolutely, Mitch. I believe that it's all about zooming in and zooming out. You need to, it's a both and, it's a paradox. You need to be at the same time, you're kind of two-headed. At the same time you're looking at the big picture, you're also able to zoom in on how that's affecting you personally. I know Otto Scharmer wrote a whole book recently with Peter Senge about this, saying basically it starts from the inside out, the inside of every person, because you can't solve the world's problems if you're not taking care of yourself and your own needs. So to be kind of centered and present to what's going on in the world and how that's affecting you, and then be able to look at the world in its totality and then see what is it that you can do, you personally can do right now. In this moment, it's 2:59, we have 1 minute left. Where am I now? And what am I doing? And being present in the present, being willing to really confront the enormity of what we have to do, yet be present enough to take one step forward, one step forward. That's all you can do every day. So I hope that I answered your question. It's a huge challenge, and I think it comes with some of those sustainability-inspired practices that I talked about is where that is at. It's 3 o'clock, and I think we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for this wonderful opportunity. I enjoyed talking with you, and really appreciate Angela making this opportunity available. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate your presentation. I was able to learn a lot from you and really learn some new engaging new ideas that I can bring into the workplace today, and so thank you so much for presenting. For all of our participants on the call, thank you very much. If you would like to, we can send you out the PowerPoint deck, and I'll contact you a little bit later if you'd like a copy of the video. So thank you so much for attending the webinar today, and we look forward to meeting each and every one of you. And please reach out to us so we can get to know know who you are and how we may be assistance to any of you. So thank you, Dr. Wirtenberg, for all that you're doing and the positive difference that you're making. And I wish you a very good day.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.